Hello, I'm Julie Williams from Migration Down Under, and I'm going to be talking to you about the Skilled Visa Program. The Skilled Visa Program, the subclass 189, is an independent pathway for those that are highly skilled and are able to obtain permanent residency for Australia on a points-based visa application. Now, the lists that you used to use for the subclass 189 and also the 190, which is a state-sponsored, was referred to as the Consolidated Skilled Occupation List, or the CSOL, and the Skilled Occupation List, or the SOL. Now, that all changed from the 19th of April 2017 when they removed those two lists, and they've now got for the 189 category called the Medium and Long-Term Strategic Skilled List. Wow, that's a mouthful compared to what used to be known as. So there's only one list now that you should be referring to for applying for the 189, and that's the Medium and Long-Term Strategic Skilled List. That can change now at any time. Traditionally, the lists were updated once a year on the 1st of July each year. They're now talking about updating these more regularly, as much as every 6 months. They are doing a review on the 1st of July, and they're going to look at doing another review at the end of December. And they do it in conjunction with industry bodies, relevant industry bodies, as well as the Department of Employment, that tells them what the skill shortages are in Australia, because the whole idea of the subclass 189 is to attract highly skilled individuals from overseas and allow you to apply for permanent residency without an employer sponsoring you. And that's because you are in an occupation that is in high demand, and it would be assumed that you would be able to find a job relatively easy in your skill set, because there is big emphasis on English language and work experience. And without English language and without work experience, you're going to find it very difficult in obtaining employment in your skilled field. A lot of people make the mistake that, oh look, I'm highly qualified, I've got several degrees, I've got a master's degree, but they've got no work experience. And that's what people are looking at, is the actual work experience, because that's what deems you as being skilled. Now, the list hasn't changed a great deal from what the SOL was, but remember, there are certain occupations that are more popular than others, and those are in the engineering field, accounting, as well as the IT field. Now, all those occupations are what we call pro rata. So because they are so popular and there's so many people applying under those categories, they've had to pro rata it, which means allocate only a small number each month, so that not the whole year's allocation is not used up all in one go. Because each financial year there is a ceiling for all the occupations, and that begins from the 1st of July each year. Now, as we're heading into June, those more popular occupations that are prorated have all been used up. So what does that mean to you? If you're an engineer or an IT profession or an accountant, it means that you can still apply if you meet all the points. You can still apply for an expression of interest, not a visa, but an expression of interest. And that, unfortunately, will sit waiting until at least the 1st of July, possibly longer, depending on the number of invitations post 1 July and the number of people that are already waiting in the pipeline. So there will be a huge backlog of people that have been waiting well prior to when the occupation ceilings have been met. So you could expect at least a 3-4 month wait. But then again, those with the higher points are going to be invited quicker than those that just meet the minimum level. Now, as everyone's aware, the points required to put an expression of interest in is 60 but each occupation has their own minimum level due to the demand. For example, accountants jumped up to 80. That's 80 points. So unless you're going to get 80 points as an accountant, unfortunately, you're not going to get an invitation to apply for a visa. However, as the months go, they may change that depending, once again, on the demand and the number of people applying. So if there is not the volume of people applying for the spaces available, and the highest marks people are getting maybe 65 or 70, then you will get an invitation. But again, just be aware that these lists may change at any time. So whilst you may be meeting the points now, they may remove an occupation off the list. So if they do that, sadly, you won't be eligible to be able to apply if your occupation has been removed from that list. Other more popular occupations are IT professions, and they're looking at 65, 70 points minimum. Engineers, a similar situation, around 70 points. So the higher the points, the more likely it is you're going to get an invitation. And be aware, from 1 July, the other fairly significant change is that they are reducing the age to 45. At the moment it's under 50, so you have to be at least 49 or under. Unfortunately, from the 1st of July you have to be 44 or younger to be eligible for this visa. Now the other area is state sponsorship, the 190. Now state sponsored do have their own lists that they draw up. Unfortunately, as we're heading towards the end of financial year, they too have met their required numbers of invitations that they're extending. So a lot of the states have already closed for invitations for this financial year. We're yet to wait and hear what their list will look like from July, because it will all be dependent on each state and their liaison with the Department of Employment as to what they feel is the occupations really needed to help their state grow and boost their economy in their state. So if your occupation is not on the medium and long-term skilled shortage list, but it is on the state sponsorship list, then you may have an opportunity to apply. But be aware that each state has their own criteria. So they may have a higher level of English required for your occupation. They may have a certain number of years experience they need before you're invited. They may require you to have a job offer in their particular state, or they may require that you have studied, if you're onshore, studied or had work experience or living in that state. Or if you're offshore, you may have close family members living in that state, because that to them shows that you're more genuine about settling in their state, and so therefore they're more likely to extend an invitation to you. So big changes ahead. It's always, whilst it's been quite settled in the last few years, it certainly has been turned up on its head in the last couple of months. So there is still a lot of questions, a lot of confusions relating to the skilled migration pathway. But what I do is encourage you to work on your work experience, work on your English language level, because those two areas are going to help boost your points and help you boost your chances of getting an invitation for the visa, as well as making you more employable for Australian employers. But please, I know there's a lot, do contact us, because I know I haven't answered everybody's questions in this short video message. So please, if you're not sure and you'd like us to check your eligibility for the 189 or the 190, or even the temporary 489, give us a call on 02 9419 5411, or send us an email, info@migrationdownunder.com, and we look forward to hearing from you and hopefully helping you succeed to be able to lodge a successful application for a visa.